Hey Faye, I'm Julia Allen.
And I'm Heidi Deloach, and this is
The High School Experience.
Hey Julia, have you been keeping up with all the football rankings?
Actually, I haven't, but let's go to Promise York to find out more about the fantasy football throughout the school.
Hi Franklin Academy, I'm Promise York. Do you like football and making money? Well, Alec Payne and Stephen Kishpaw will tell you how you can get involved here at school with fantasy football.
What's up, Franklin Academy? I'm Alec Payne.
And I'm Stephen Kishpaw.
This year, Mr. Levin's sports media class did a fantasy football league.
We interviewed him and some of his producers to find out what makes fantasy football such a huge phenomenon.
Let's take a look.
Fantasy football is something that's become so prevalent in the sporting society today that it's something that we have to acknowledge and we have to study as members of a sports media class. So I think it's important for everybody to get a general idea of what's going on with fantasy sports, and what better way than to get a hands-on activity of actually being able to play the game, interact with it on a week-by-week basis. And furthermore than that, the writing component with it means that you're going to have to write game recaps as if those players were actually playing against each other, and that allows us to practice our AP style writing as well.
What I do personally to make my roster better is first I build everything around the draft to do the best I can, and then post-draft I'll go find the weakest team, probably don't know a lot about football, and try and get some kind of trade out of it, try and finesse them. Like almost traded Sammy Watkins for Antonio Brown. Anyone that knows football knows that was a very bad trade for whoever had Antonio Brown. But yeah, I'll just try and find the lower tier teams and try and make trades with them, because usually they're at the bottom anyway, might as well trade with them. If you don't know a lot about football, then I wouldn't really do any kind of league that has money. I'd probably take a year just to practice. Or you have to watch football, you have to know football if you really want to put in $20 for a league, but you get $250 out of it. So I would definitely recommend it if you know a little bit about football.
For me, what I really love about fantasy football is just being able to compete with my friends and being able to do something that's social with my friends. It's a lot of fun just to be able to interact with them and have that friendly competition going.
I hope you learned something more about fantasy football and even want to try it. Good luck on your draft.
Thanks, Promise. Hey Julia, have you taken the SAT yet?
Actually, I haven't, and I don't think I'm ready at all.
You should consider going to the ACT SAT prep. Let's go to Shahan Raymond for more.
As you all know, the ACTs and SATs are coming up, so we decided to interview Mr. Taylor and a few other students to find out more.
I think the SAT and ACT are both important because they're a reflection of your cumulative education from high school on, and gives colleges and other places a really good glimpse and sneak peek kind of what you've done and how well you've continued to learn throughout your high school career. I think the single most important thing is just do what you're supposed to do in school and study for tests, and also if there's any ACT or SAT, ACT or SAT prep courses, definitely enroll in those. They give you great test taking tips, just things you might need to look out for, roadblocks that could come up, but really just make sure you're paying attention in class and doing what you need to do and making the grades you need to make.
I think it's important to practice for the SATs and ACTs, mainly because when you prepare and you go in, you tend to do better. Studies show that if you prepare more, you'll do better on the test. So personally, I think studying for the SAT and the ACT is better because you know more of the content, you know better strategies that can help you take the test faster and do better. Well, honestly, I use the Khan Academy's SAT prep, and I think that did a really great job. They take you through the questions and they give you practice tests and practice essays, so it's a really good way to, get a practice feel for what the actual test is like.
SAT prep and ACT prep is always very helpful. The teachers are very helpful. They know what they're doing. They help you understand strategies, effective strategies to implement when you're taking the test. Say you're taking the SAT and you're learning about time management. Time management is very crucial when you're taking both tests because you only have a certain amount of time to take it. It's a lot shorter than the PSAT was. You have to get through like the math questions a lot quicker than you normally would, and the reading questions. Sleep a lot. I went into my SAT and I got like very little sleep, and I didn't do as well as I wanted to, so that's very important. Also, like, take studying for it seriously. When you study for it, you're actually learning for your future. I wish I studied more for math, so I'm taking it again. Like, I forgot basic algebraic concepts, which, you know, I thought I had down. So studying for it is very crucial. Like, people always say, oh, I shouldn't study for the SAT, it's just going to be like the same. It's not. It's going to be different.
I hope you all learned a little bit today about ACT and SAT prep. Now back to the news desk.
Thanks, Shahan. Hey, Hattie, did you know we have a new environmental club?
I did actually, but I don't know much about it.
Hopefully Ula can help us out to learn more.
Did you know we have a new environmental club? We interviewed Madison Gagley and a few students for an inside look.
So my senior project is that is about the ocean and how our pollution directly affects it, and internally like directly affects us and our quality of life and all the like ocean biomes, and how all the fish dying affects us, and like the plastic ingested in the fish, and we eat the fish, so we're literally eating the plastic that we polluted into the ocean. My goal with the environmental club is to bring awareness to around the school, because nobody really knows about how bad the environment and like the ocean really is and how downhill it's going. And like I also want to clean up the Neuse River, so that directly leads into our ocean, so like that'll directly impact the ocean.
I decided to come to the interest meeting because not enough people care about our environment, and I think it's important to raise awareness and actually do something about it.
I've kind of wanted to make a club since last year. I took marine biology, and that's what got me obsessed with the environment and how like bad our oceans really are. I wanted to do like the marine biology club, but then I don't know, I just felt the environment would be more important, especially to go along with my goal and my thesis with my senior project. In the environmental club, we will be doing, like I said earlier, we're going to be doing cleanups of the Neuse River, and we're also going to be, Brendan Dorrance and I are going to try to get recycling here, so it would be part of the Wake Forest loop. So we'd also be collecting the plastic bottles from the boxes we put out to each homeroom and ensure that they get into the bin. Because right now, like the blue bins you see now just go directly into the trash can. We want to do that, and then we want to collect plastic bags from around the school, because an organization makes those into blankets for the homeless in the underdeveloped countries, which I think is really important.
Hope you learned something new about this club. Thanks for watching. Back to the news desk.
Thanks, Ula. Here at FA, we need to make sure we're supporting our fellow athletes.
And we have a spirit club to help us out with that.
Let's go to Danielle to learn more about improving our Pat Power.
Hello students, this year Franklin Academy got a new club called Spirit Club. Let's go see how we can hype this school up.
The Spirit Club is all about promoting a positive school climate and a healthy level of school spirit inside of Franklin Academy. It's a group of students who are dedicated to making their educational experience better by hopefully promoting those positive attitudes throughout the entire student body. In a perfect world, this is an answer to bringing a better climate to Franklin Academy, to bring an environment where students are united, where students are committed not only to working for themselves and the betterment of their own education, but having a sense of team and being able to work for the betterment of the school community as a whole. We want to see increased participation in extracurricular activities, whether that be playing on a sports team, supporting a sports team, doing the fine arts, supporting the fine arts.
Anytime someone else acknowledges all your hard work and all your time and effort that you have put into something, and they recognize that, it gives them that sense of accomplishment and they feel proud of it when other people recognize their talents.
When people recognize art, or if they come to an art showcase, or if it's hung up in the hallways and someone comes up to, even just like a art student, even if it's not yours, it's really encouraging seeing that people recognize that, oh, you spent 30 hours staring at that piece of paper, then that's something.
Whenever there's people in the crowd, people in the stands, it always makes me want to perform better and put on a little bit of a show.
We want to create a community, and that's something that Franklin Academy hasn't had in quite some time, where we want open lines of communication between administrators, teachers, and students, and we want to be able to create one identity and one united community.
Don't forget to come out and support your arts and sports teams, and remember, rerun on Pat Power.
Thanks, Danielle. Hey, Hattie, did you hear about what happened in Chapel Hill recently?
No, I didn't. What happened?
Let's just go to Matthew Schweikert to learn more about the recent news.
On Monday, August 20th, Silent Sam, a prominent statue of a Confederate soldier on the campus of the University of North Carolina, was toppled from its pedestal by protesters.
So Silent Sam was erected in 1913 by the United Daughters of the Confederacy, specifically on the University of North Carolina site as a memorial to the 40% of all University of North Carolina students who fought in the Civil War on both sides.
Originally speaking, you got to think the Daughters of the Confederacy, they're creating this monument because just like the way we're paying homage to people who are veterans of World War II, that generation is dying off and we're raising all these monuments up to them. So too, these people are back 100 years ago because that generation that fought in the Confederacy and in the Union during the Civil War, they're in their 70s and 80s and they're starting to die off. So a lot of their children and their grandchildren are putting these things up to kind of celebrate them and their sacrifice they made for their communities.
John A. Wilson, the chosen designer of the monument, used a Northern man, Harold Langlois, as his model of the soldier, merely dressing him in Confederate regalia. The statue is considered one of many silent sentinels scattered throughout the United States that represent soldiers who fought for both the Union and the Confederacy.
All of the statues are built without a cartridge box because they cannot fire, because the Union did win the Civil War. They're all meant to be peaceful soldiers. Also, every single silent sentinel is facing north toward the Union.
While the statue was torn down, the pedestal and adjoined plaques still remain as a reminder of where Silent Sam once stood. In response to the actions of August 20th, UNC Chancellor Carol Folt and North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper issued official statements echoing that while sentiments toward the statue were understood, the act of removing Silent Sam was dangerous and unlawful.
If we are a nation of laws, you can't just go around tearing down public property with no government approval for that. And if we just allow that, then that doesn't make us a democracy. That makes us potentially an anarchy where mob rule is in charge. And that's not what democracy is. Democracy is laws in place to temper society's passions.
But I do think if we're going to let the quote-unquote will of the people determine the fate of those statues, then perhaps it needs to be put to us in a referendum, so that way all North Carolinians can kind of share input on what needs to happen, where do these things need to go, when does that need to happen, what's the most respectful way for that to happen.
The North Carolina State Historical Commission met on Wednesday, August 22nd, to discuss the future of Confederate monuments on state property, specifically the state capitol grounds. The commission voted to keep all monuments in place as they are, but added a provision to appoint a committee to build a new monument for previously underrepresented groups on the south lawn of the Capitol.
What this does mean is that we could see more statues built toward African Americans and previous groups that were not as well recognized according to the State Historical Commission. Especially on the state capitol grounds, there could be a slave or African American monument that comes up within the next year or two.
The discussion over the fate of Silent Sam and other similar statues is one that is only intensifying and is sure to carry through the next several political cycles. From the high school experience, I'm Matthew Schweikert.
That's it for this week. Thanks for watching.